The moment Adrian Cole realized what he had seen, his heart stopped so violently he thought it might tear through his ribs. He froze in the doorway, his hand still gripping the mop handle, his breath caught somewhere between his lungs and his throat. Sunlight poured through the tall office windows, illuminating the polished floor and the reflection of a woman standing near the desk. She had her back turned, slipping into a blazer, unaware she wasn't alone. Adrian's eyes widened in horror as recognition struck him like lightning. It was her, Celeste Vaughn, the CEO, the most powerful woman in the entire building. His fingers trembled, and instinctively he stepped back, his worn shoes squeaking against the marble floor. He hadn't meant to come here. He was only filling in for someone else, cleaning offices on the executive floor during the day because his usual night shift had been cut. He hadn't known she would be there. And now, he had seen something he never should have. Before we go further, if you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances, please like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Midnight Tales. Your support keeps these stories alive. Adrian lowered his head, shame flooding his chest. His first thought wasn't about losing his job. It was about his daughter. Mila was only 7 years old. She had asthma, and her medication alone cost more than Adrian earned in a week. Since his wife had died 2 years ago in a car accident on a bright morning that still haunted his dreams, Adrian had become everything. Father, mother, protector, provider. And he was failing. He worked 3 jobs. Janitor at night, delivery driver on weekends, and now, temporary daytime cleaning shifts. He barely slept, barely ate, but he always smiled when Mila looked at him. Because she needed him to be strong. And now, this mistake could destroy everything. He turned to leave silently, praying she hadn't noticed him. But then her voice cut through the room. She told him to wait. Adrian's body stiffened instantly. His heart dropped into his stomach. Slowly, he turned around, unable to look her in the eyes. His hands tightened around the mop handle as if it were the only thing holding him upright. He expected anger, disgust, maybe even security. Instead, what he saw shocked him. Celeste Vaughn wasn't glaring. She wasn't furious. She was calm. Her expression was unreadable, but there was no cruelty in her eyes. Only curiosity. Adrian immediately apologized, his voice shaking, his words tumbling over each other. He explained he hadn't known anyone was inside. He explained he would leave immediately. He explained he needed the job. He didn't realize his last sentence had come out as a whisper. He needed the job. She studied him quietly, her sharp eyes noticing things others ignored. The worn edges of his uniform. The exhaustion behind his eyes. The way his shoulders slumped like he carried the weight of something invisible but crushing. She asked him why he worked during the day when janitors usually worked at night. He hesitated. Then he told the truth. He told her about Mila. About the hospital bills. About the inhalers. About the nights he sat beside her bed listening to her fragile breathing, terrified it might stop. He told her about the accident that had taken his wife on a bright, ordinary morning that had never felt ordinary since. As he spoke, the office seemed to shrink around them. The polished desk, the expensive art, the city skyline outside the window, all of it felt distant compared to the quiet pain in his voice. He wasn't asking for pity. He was just explaining his existence. Celeste listened without interrupting. For a long moment after he finished, silence filled the room. Adrian braced himself for rejection. Instead, she said something that shattered his expectations. She said she understood. Adrian blinked, confused. She walked toward the window, her heels clicking softly against the floor, sunlight framing her like a memory. She told him that 10 years ago, she had been homeless. That people saw her now and assumed she had always lived in comfort. But they hadn't seen the nights she slept in her car. The mornings she cried quietly before job interviews, hiding her desperation behind forced confidence. She told him that survival didn't always look dignified. Adrian stared at her, stunned. No one had ever spoken to him like this. No one had ever treated him like a human being instead of something invisible. Then she asked him something unexpected. She asked him what Mila wanted to be when she grew up. Adrian smiled for the first time that day. He said Mila wanted to be a doctor. Because doctors helped people breathe. The words hung in the air between them. Celeste nodded slowly, as if that answer meant something more than he realized. She turned back toward him and said he wasn't fired. Relief hit him so hard his knees nearly gave out. But she wasn't finished. She told him she had been watching him for weeks. She had noticed how he stayed late to finish work others ignored. How he helped coworkers without being asked. How he never complained. She told him character was revealed in quiet moments. Then she said something Adrian never expected to hear. She offered him a position. Not as a janitor, but as a facilities coordinator trainee. A job with stable hours. Better pay. Health insurance. Adrian's mind couldn't process it. He had spent years being overlooked. Forgotten. Invisible. And now, someone saw him. Tears burned in his eyes, but he fought them back. He wasn't used to hope. Hope was dangerous. Hope could break you. Celeste told him she wasn't giving him charity. She was giving him opportunity. Because someone had once done the same for her. Adrian left the office that day feeling like the sun was brighter than it had ever been. Like the air was easier to breathe. That evening, when he picked Mila up from school, she ran into his arms like she always did. Her small body pressed against his chest, her laughter filling the empty spaces inside him. He realized something then. For the first time since his wife died, he wasn't afraid of tomorrow. Weeks passed. Adrian worked harder than he ever had. He learned. He grew. He became someone new without losing who he had always been. And Celeste watched quietly from a distance, knowing she had changed a life with a single decision. But she also knew something else. He had changed hers too. Because kindness reminded her who she used to be. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who believes in second chances, and subscribe to Midnight Tales. Your support helps keep hope alive in a world that sometimes forgets it. And before this story ends, I have one special request. Please comment the word hope if you believe one moment of kindness can change someone's entire life. Years later, Adrian stood in a hospital hallway, holding Mila's hand as she wore a white coat for the first time. She wasn't a patient anymore. She was a doctor. He looked at her, tears streaming freely now, remembering the man he used to be. The man who almost lost everything because of a single accident. And the woman who chose kindness instead of judgment. Mila squeezed his hand and smiled. In that moment, Adrian realized something powerful. Sometimes, the worst moment of your life isn't the end of your story. Sometimes, it's the moment your life finally begins.